Welcome to ZKast, everyone. I'm ZS Caraval from ZK Research, and I'm here at the RingCentral Analyst Summit in Napa, California. I'm with Kristin Koenig. You are the GM of all kind of the emergent stuff at RingCentral, right?
Video solutions.
Yeah. So what does that include, actually?
Yeah, so that includes meetings, webinars, rooms, and events.
Yeah, and you came to Ring through the Hopin acquisition, which was the event platform.
Yes. So Hopin in August 2023 was acquired, and then I've been leading the event solution for the last year, and now really excited over the last 60 days to be taking on as the GM of all video solutions.
Okay, so events, webinars, rooms, and video.
Yes.
Right? So that's pretty interesting. And so talk about that portfolio, because it's an interesting collection of things, right?
Yes.
When people think of RingCentral, I think you think of them first as an EX company, market-leading UC platform, more and more a CX company, but I don't know how much airtime this part of the business gets.
Yeah, I mean, you are right. I would say I'm the least airtime, but that's why I'm now in this role, is to ensure that our customer experience from phone to other parts of the communications is really paramount from a user journey. So what I mean by that is you have the phone side, and how can you easily switch between phone and video meetings and have that be a core part of the user experience. So, I think video has been a little bit more of the last really pieces of the pie, but it's essential for communication. So even as we go into 2025, how can we create this as a more focal point of the organization to help with customers across the board?
Okay, so one of the big talking points here, focus areas at this event, was the RingCentral platform.
Yeah.
Not thinking about Ring as the UC company or the CX company, but Ring as a platform company.
Yep.
And so that would lend me to believe that the stuff you're running integrates on both the EX and CX side.
Yes.
And so if I'm a RingCentral user and I'm a knowledge worker and I'm using MVP or the meetings platform, how might what you do fit into that?
So it fits in really cohesively right now. We're going to do more things to make that cohesion even stickier. So, when I talked about the phone side, so, that's what we are known for from an EX perspective. But when you're looking at the phone across the board, you can easily switch between, when you're on a phone call, can you share your screen? Can you switch to a video call? And interchangeably do that between your mobile and desktop version, because communications should be, a great UX and UI experience. So that's paramount. Also, video is now integrated into our chat capabilities. So, when you're in an internal employee experience providing, you can always message your coworkers via video and audio message. And then lastly, for webinars, is that can also launch from the RingCentral application. And then next up, what we're going to have is events launch from there as well. So that cohesion between the RingCentral application is super crucial, and all part of the experience of that platform-esque. So it fits in really, really well, but we still need to work on making sure that UX, UI, and simplicity is there.
Now, do you find that people understand the difference between a meeting, a webinar, and an event?
We were talking about this yesterday. Yeah. I think that's still something in the market that everyone has their own definition. Because, I've been in the...
It seems to me there's a lot of blurring between those three areas.
There's so much blurring. But what I like to think about is, you can label it a meeting, a webinar, or event, but I think about the use case. Do you want something lightweight where you click a button and you can have thousands of people on it for an address or a town hall? Or do you need something that's more high-end production with brand awareness? Yeah. So that's the difference between video conferencing and kind of a full event platform, is you're giving them more of a customized experience. So I think of less of the definition and more of the use case.
Yeah. I also think, too, you could do a 100-person video meeting if you're all just, you think of your use with the Detroit Lions, right?
Yes.
Where you're just, interacting with people, busting on the team for the draft, versus a 5-person webinar where you're trying to capture feedback and poll and things like that, right?
Correct.
And so it's those ancillary tools, I think, that really determine which of those you use.
Yes, and I think our users and our customers are really telling us to really differentiate in the market in that way. Why can't you in a meeting be able to, have lower thirds, for example, and not just in a production tool? So I think we're being challenged in the market.
Why can't you?
Yeah. There's things in the market that, instead of saying, okay, this tool's for this and that tool's for this, how do we bring what our customers are just doing in their day-to-day to the forefront of the product experience?
Yeah. Now, what about on the CX side?
Yeah.
I do think there are some dots you can connect between webinars, events, and CX, but why don't you talk about that?
Yeah, so obviously we see the synergies already with EX, but I think for CX is customer experience is at the forefront. And with CX especially is like, we talked about it with lead gen. Customers and prospects and those calling in to your business, that is an opportunity for you to actually kind of connect the pieces together with webinars and events. So I think of this as a continuum. There's not connections there right now, but I think as we analyze how the CX platform grows, there could be a lot of synergies there as well.
Yeah, because without those connected dots, what would I do? I'd do my webinar. I then have this separate data set that I'd have to somehow import into my contact center or set up the leads. And that certainly creates a lot of lag where you might miss the opportunity.
Exactly. And that's where, CRM connection and integrations are definitely paramount as you go through that. So nothing that we're exploring just yet, but that's definitely something that's top of mind.
Yeah, the other interesting aspect, I guess, that too, is when you think about contact center, people think of it as a post-sales service and support tool. But more and more companies I talk to that with the rise of AI, right, are trying to use it more as a sales and marketing tool. In fact, one of my kids works for one of the, actually a Ring reseller, and he's a BDR, and they've rolled him under marketing now because a lot of the business development
outbound motion
is done through the webinars and social media and events and things like that. So. And when he told me that, I thought that was kind of interesting.
That is interesting. I mean, BDR is more of an outbound type of motion, so it makes sense. Even though it's like sales and more business development, I think that's tied to marketing. It's like you're trying to attract leads, and that can kind of transcend into your customer experience. Yeah.
Now, the other, I guess, the big theme here in this industry, and we're going to hear a lot about this at Enterprise Connect, is that two-letter word AI.
Yes.
Right. And so when you think about AI and agentic AI and LLMs, how are you thinking about using that to change the webinar event meeting experience?
Well, I think overall you're going to have your table stakes AI, which is, for webinars, meetings, and events, there's AI translation, there's clips, AI generated clips, there's how you message and changing the message as you're messaging your clients on the webinars, like chat, polls, Q&A, and actually summarizing those. Those are kind of table stakes. When we think about AI from, the future perspective, I think of themes of interest. So, think of an event or a webinar that you have, like, are you capturing the chat, the Q&A, and every content piece that's happening at the event and know what to serve to your customers? That is called personalization. So I think when I think about events and webinars, it's more about that. When I think of video AI, there's so many things that we can do, which is the same on events. It's just a little bit different because, you're thinking about summaries after. But I'm taking it a step further. How can you actually communicate to customers after the call? So is there pieces that you can tie into email and other things? So I think about the whole picture is how do you save your customers' time? And time is valuable. So I even use myself as the example with our product team all the time when I'm trying to figure out, like, what should we build next? And like, what takes a lot of time in my day? And it's, writing these emails and getting it out to the market. But usually after you're on a call with someone, you should know what that is.
Yeah, we'll see. And what you're talking about is really the life cycle.
It's a life cycle.
Right. It's not, I think there's a lot of companies that do the webinar experience well, but there's a bunch of stuff you have to do before and equally important, all the stuff you do after, right?
Exactly. And I think the core of it is why we're bringing these video solutions together, not just having events or webinars or meetings or rooms separate, is there's a lot that can transcend to every part of the experience. So why should we build two things twice when we can have it cohesive across the entire platform? So I think that's what is going to bring more of the solutions together over the oversight, and I think it's going to be great.
All right. And Just last question. Anything you can share roadmap-wise that's coming? I don't want to get you in trouble.
Well, I think, we just launched Studio.
Yeah.
Studio and the production is huge. So in-platform Studio was just launched. I can't share what's coming out in Q2, but let's just say we want to make the marketing experience even easier than ever before. So all the things and steps that make you build an event or webinar or meeting, that's at the forefront of what we're coming out with. So stay tuned.
Yeah, and I think actually for your partners, this presents an excellent opportunity for upsell.
Absolutely.
Right? They talk about how competitive the UCCC gets, but this seems like it'll help them create some differentiation.
Oh, huge differentiation. I talked to a channel partner who was actually here, and she's like, I can't wait to get my fingertips on this product because this can set you apart. Because we were not a part of the RingCentral core platform and we were an acquisition, it has different branding and customization that is different than a video conferencing platform versus being fully integrated into the business.
Actually, one last question. I lied when I said it was the last one before. One of the criticisms of this space is that difficulties is that it's a different buyer. Are you seeing the IT buyer now take a little more interest in this space, or are they still separate?
I love this question, and I know you kind of touched on it yesterday. What's so funny is our buyer is not just the marketer. We have HR teams and internal teams utilize our product across the board. I think what's happening though is when you go into the small business and mid-market, those buyers are essentially from a lot of times the same because you have smaller teams to work with. So I do think there's some areas that they are a different buyer, but with our customer base, the 400,000+ strong, asking those simple questions on, what vendors do you use and how they kind of pull this together, that's an opportunity because you can connect the dots. Like one of the channel partners said to me yesterday, you can connect the dots and actually challenge and educate your customer on why these things matter to bring them together.
All right. Well, thanks. Appreciate the overview on where you're going and the tie into the RingCentral platform. Anything else you want to add?
No, thank you for having me, Zayas. I appreciate it.
No, it's great having you. So on behalf of Kristin Koenig from RingCentral, I'm CS Caravala from ZK Research, and thanks for watching. Give us a like and hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you next time on my next episode of ZKast.